You probably heard of this before. May you live in interesting times. I don't know who said that, but that's one hell of a curse if you ask me. Unfortunately, the concept of interesting times apply perfectly to what we've been going through as a society since 2020. It seems like we're moving through one economic crisis to the next every other month. Most people think this is because President X, President Y, the war in Ukraine, the Middle East being a mess, and of course the big one, China's possible invasion of Taiwan. I just don't buy it. I mean, yes, of course these are factors that affect every economy in a bad way, at least to an extent, but we cannot single out one of them and put all the blame of this weird economic environment we've been in onto it, because that would honestly make no sense if you ask me. So what is the real core issue? Why can't the economies around the world couldn't catch a break in the last few years? I wholeheartedly believe that it is uncertainty. Think about it. It's a vicious cycle. When businesses and investors are unsure about the future, they tend to hold back on spending and investment. This lack of investment can lead to slower innovation and fewer jobs, causing economic growth to stagnate. When this happens, no one is satisfied. Politics get more and more radical, usually leading to geopolitical tensions. Speaking of geopolitical tensions are one of the biggest reasons why this high level of uncertainty for the future exists in the first place. It doesn't take a genius to point out trade wars, sanctions, and political conflict can and will disrupt supply chains. I know economies around the world before 2020 were not perfect by any means, but I feel like we have lost something that is crucial for global stability as a whole, not just economic growth, and that is hope. That may sound a bit too sentimental, but I get an example for you. On August 5th, 2024, Japan's stock market had one of its worst days ever. The Nikkei index crashed by 13%. This was the biggest single-day drop since Black Monday in 1987. And it was triggered by Bank of Japan's recent interest rate hike. But the story doesn't end there. Just a day later, the market bounced back, as investors saw opportunities in the oversold stocks. While this shock to the market in Japan isn't completely over yet, I don't think you can explain this type of reaction by logic. I think ever since the global economic and social crisis we started going through in 2020, people's and markets' reactions overall have been much more emotional and full of panic. I sincerely believe losing hope and belief in our ability to have global stability can and will have catastrophic results. Humanity had its most peaceful period ever since the end of the Second World War. Yes, there have been some terrible wars, but not to the degree the world was accustomed to before the 21st century. Call it what you want, but the level of international cooperation that was established in the mid-20th century is what made us so successful. By us, I mean everyone. No matter if you are living in a developed country or still a developing one, you can bet that you are living a life 1,000 times better than your own ancestors, who lived in the same country just 100 years ago. People give capitalism a lot of smack, and maybe they are right to do so about so many aspects of it. But we cannot argue that the level of innovation and growth we achieved in the last 80 years or so with free trade and capitalism has been nothing short of incredible. Anyway, back to our 2024 economy not being stable. I want to ask, what is a stable economy in the first place? When someone say that they want a stable economy, they don't necessarily mean things not changing. In this day and age, we define a stable economy as an already developed economy that still continues growing. There's this whole sustainability versus infinite growth debate, but I think that type of thinking approaches the problem from the wrong angle. In my eyes, as long as we live in a capitalist society, a healthy economy relies on consistent growth to provide a better future for everyone. It is very clear that stagnant or declining economies face many challenges. There would be a long list, but unemployment, low wages, and reduced public services are just a few of them. All of these factors create a cycle of decline. A consistently growing economy, on the other hand, create more opportunities, lift people out of poverty, and all that good stuff. A growing economy can also provide the resources needed to address environmental challenges. So it's not like aspiring for infinite economic growth always equals damage to other aspects of our lives, such as the environment. So, since the quote-unquote the normal thing is a growing economy, in order for us to go back to normal, we need a sense of certainty and hope for the future. The point I'm trying to make is, for us to get everything back on track, including inflation that has been ruining us since 2020, we need to first believe that we can. Of course, just saying positive stuff is quite easy. Re-establishing people's trust in the economy when the geopolitical tensions are the highest they have ever been since forever is kinda hard. I know, I said that no single event on its own is to blame for the mess we are in. But of course, some of them are bigger problems than others. While Russian and Ukrainian war is tragic, and what happens in the Middle East is really terrible, the other big thing, China's invasion of Taiwan, would be so devastating, all the other stuff would look like nothing in comparison. I wanna talk more about China and Taiwan in depth depth in a future video, but I just wanted to acknowledge how important this topic really is. To wrap up, while the challenges we face are very significant, they are not impossible to get over. History has shown us time and time again that even in the most trying times, we can get to the light at the end of the tunnel.